Bold 100. And people who have taken Bold know what that is, right? Does everybody recognize what a Bold 100 is when you, in one day, reach out and contact 100 people? This is a reverse Bold 100, and the concept is way cool. Tony Baroni, who we're going to listen to for about 50 minutes, has mastered this. And so let's dig in, take notes, because there is a structure to it, and you're going to want to remember the details of how he sets this up. And his partner in crime, and I forget what her name is, both of them have had great success in building their database and actually converting business pretty quickly by setting up this reverse, they say, call in to win program, event. It's great for today's market. So, Mr. Mechanical Man, can you get us going with Tony? Thank you.
Sell a ton of houses. Anne-Marie, I started my real estate career in Crown Point, Indiana. So right there, not too far from Orland Park, really. So that's cool.
We were shoveling similar snow.
I was, and that's why all three of us who are Midwesterners are down here, right? So Tony, tell us about you.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town called Paris, Illinois, went to Illinois State University, graduated, moved to Florida, and been here since 2001, was in logistics field prior to real estate. 2005, became an agent and joined KW in 2007. And, fast forward 15 years, been in real estate quite a while now. And ultimately, we've grown a team. We decided to grow a team. And I also was on a team for 4 years prior to starting a team. So, kind of been on both sides of it. And I'm really excited about the topic today because I think it's something fun. And with everything changing with events, our team was heavily based for client events before. And now we've kind of used these giveaways, or call them reverse bold 100, reverse bold 200. I prefer to call it our Tony Baroni team giveaways. And ultimately, hopefully you guys can learn some stuff today. Absolutely, we want everyone to learn. We're going to have questions, and we'll make sure we answer all the questions. So don't get worked up if we don't get to it right away. And we'll go from there. So, Anne-Marie, what's the goal of reverse bold in your mind?
Well, first of all, I think you nail it for just going out there. And I don't know, somebody took the slogan, just do it. I'm not sure who it is, but we couldn't be just do it. So it's just start. And I think Tony's just done a great job of, we don't have to, it's not perfection, it's progress. So just start and do it and figure it out and fail forward. And that's what we've done. So the goal is just to be top of mind for anybody thinking about any and all things real estate. So it's, like Tony said, it's replacing our client events, which is our highest touch point that we did quarterly. And by doing so, we're just reaching out to our clients, either texting, email, phone calls, any way possible, newsletters. We'll talk about specifics for each one. But it's just reaching out to them. Again, I don't know what smart person said it, but all of our clients and all of our prospects, they just want to be entertained or they want to be educated. So we're doing hopefully both here because we can give them some knowledge on market information, but we're really just wanting to have some fun with them and engage in a conversation. And I guess primarily it was to really beef up and complete our database with their information. So it was mandatory when they called in to provide name, best phone, best email, and their mailing address. So pushback on that is often, oh, just call me, just text me. I know I'm not going to win anyway, but what the heck, I called in. And it's Oh my gosh, James, thanks so much. And here's why we ask for it and why it's important and why it's required for an entry to be placed is sometimes it's going to be a newsletter, sometimes it's going to be an email, sometimes it's going to be a text notification on all these cool things that we're going to give away. So we absolutely want to make sure that you are notified that you're receiving or could be the recipient of one of these awesome gifts. Does that make sense?
Sure does.
Oh yeah, okay. And you proceed to gather all their information required and they leave smiling, and I'd always end it with, James, thank you so much for all that information. If we have any additional entry factors, we mention it. We'll get into that as we go through, but then I end every call with, James, thanks so much. This is your best number, right? So when you win, this is a number of calling. And it just, people smiled and they appreciated it, and they really left feeling like, gosh, I might be able to win, which is how we want to have it.
That's awesome. I want to give some background as we dive into your systems, because you guys have some really awesome systems, which are great. So some perspective for those of you that are going, well, what is even a bold reverse 200? Like, what does that even mean? Is it a race this weekend or what is it? So I want to walk through that real quick. The idea of a bold 100 came out of bold back in the beginning when an agent said in there they couldn't make 100 contacts in a day, in a week, which is the standard of bold, right? 100 contacts in 1 week. And this agent told the coach, I don't even see how anyone could do 100 contacts in a week. And the coach was Diana Kokoska, and Diana challenged that person to go, you know what, see if you can do it in a day. And that's when the bold 100 was born, where this agent went out and made 100, either face-to-face or on the phone conversations in one day. And that's what kind of brought the bold 100 to light. Well, down the line, a guy named Craig Goodliff, who's an amazing MAPS coach with Keller Williams, said, what if instead of you doing all the work to go out and talk to 100 people, what if you could do a reverse where they all call you instead? And so people started doing that. And Tony, I know you and your team, Anne-Marie, you guys have really mastered this, where now your most recent one had 200 inbound contacts in one day to really grow the database. So the idea is to teach the system and what it is. And I think, Anne-Marie, you gave us part of it. We got to have contact info first when they call in. So I guess this is really one opportunity out of this is to just make sure the database is correct and updated, right?
Absolutely. And it can't be about us. I mean, that's our goals, obviously, because our database is our business. But it can't be, us calling wanting, what can you give me? Or expecting them to call in with that, right? So we make it compelling and fun, like we were talking about, but it's actually something that they'd be interested. And I like to have it be like, give them pause to realize, man, I could use a grill. I could use that cool hair dryer. I would love to have 300 Amazon dollars. So it's got to be a cool enough, valuable prize, or don't even start.
Now, how often do you do it? So is this because client events have been your thing, and obviously we've had to pivot because we're not doing baseball games and client parties and cookouts. So how often now are you doing these either, I want to call it the Tony Baroni team call in to win giveaway? How often are you doing those?
We're doing that.
4.
Yeah, go ahead, Amber.
Nope, we've done 4. So we did our first one, and this was the just kick it down the road. Literally, like, we just got to go do it. Just start. We're doing it. So we sent out Valentine's for that invite and did the call in on literally Friday, February 13th. But the homework that we can talk about when it's like what's required before, during the call day, and then after the call day, before it's, just as important, if not the most important thing to plan for it. And that was for Valentine's Day. Tony made a reservation for Saturday night, the 15th. Is that right, Tony? So yeah, we had him call in on Valentine's. So it was a reservation already made, because who can make a last minute Valentine's reservation? And that was already made for them. And if they wanted to change it, that was fine. We gave them a gift card, but we had the reservation.
So you said that the one key to this, if you're going to do a giveaway, is we don't just decide, oh my gosh, 4th of July is Saturday, we should do a call in tomorrow and we're going to give away a beach prize pack. Like, you're planning 3 and 4 months out on what the giveaway is. I mean, that's how early your planning starts.
Yep.
Why is that so important? Because I imagine maybe there was a time that you said, hey, let's do one next week, and that just didn't work, right?
Well, I'll let Tony answer that because he is all about planning and so well advanced. He's always doing things way in advance for planning. And I kid when I say that, but
Or not.
he's amazing on his feet. But for this, we realized, you got to plan for this. But he was the push to say, we're not going to perfect it. Let's just do it. So for Valentine's, we realized, okay, we got to at least have a reservation or it's not really that cool for them and certainly not compelling to call in. So,
and you guys are using sponsors to help sometimes cover the cost of these things. Is that right? Or vendor partners or no?
We have not done that yet.
Okay, so that might be an option down the line if somebody wanted to partner with you. All right, let's talk about, so you pick the time frame, and it sounds like you're using holidays because I know you did Valentine's Day. I'm on your stuff now, so you did Mother's Day and Father's Day. When's your next one?
August 7th, Friday, August 7th, we're doing a big green egg mini grill, which is a portable one that you can take to tailgate and things like that. So that's our next one. So we were plugging on our Father's Day fishing charter, which was a $400 fishing charter for 5 hours, up to 4 people. We plugged that when everyone called in for Father's Day. We're plugging the next one. When we're hanging up, we're saying, hey, mark your calendar for Friday, August 7th. We're giving away a big green egg mini. Don't miss out. The number you just called, just save it in your phone, type in Tony Baroni Team giveaway, and make sure you're on this so you can call in on the next one. And then what we're doing is we're putting on the newsletter. We were doing a quarterly newsletter before COVID-19, and now we've really shifted to, we've even done a couple months in a row on newsletters, which is hard to pull off because we're doing it completely organic. But on the front page of our newsletter, we have a little section at the very bottom on our next giveaway. And we plan to do that now every other month, plugging the next one. So
that's cool. So I'm going to share it because I have your newsletter. So I want everyone to see it. And I think the lesson here is you have the next one is planned when you're doing the current one. So you're always driving to the next one. That's a big aha to me.
Absolutely.
So here's the newsletter, and let me zoom in on it if I can. Now I have to move my thingy. So hold on one second. I want to zoom in so you can see a little bit. This is the newsletter here. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So hold on. Let me get over so it's in that window. There we go. So this is the newsletter. And you can see here, here's the giveaway. I mean, it takes up half the page.
Correct.
That was the first one. That was the first one. It was spring. You'll see on top, it's spring. It was at the onset of COVID. So we knew, like, activity-wise, we were going to do Disney. We had all these activity ideas, and we said, it's just got to be Amazon. And hopefully people can get their toilet paper delivered from Amazon. But that was, that was what it was. And that was for the March 27th call-in.
So whatever's going on, your timing and being in touch with what's going on is important for these giveaways so that people want
Absolutely.
To you guys do a Facebook event also?
We do.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very simple. We just created an event on Facebook. Probably perfect world would be a couple weeks in advance. If you get some activity, as you guys know, if you hit going on that, then it shows on other people's pages as well. So it takes maybe 10 minutes to set up a Facebook event. And prior to this, I didn't know how to do that. And it's pretty simple. So we do have that as well.
That's great. All right. So then also, I mean, you're really leveraging social media. So Facebook, Instagram, and some other stuff really to promote it. So is there anything specific social media wise that you want everyone to know is really going to help drive people to participate?
I think the easiest way is simply, if you guys want to go to Facebook at Tony Baroni Team, like our page, and then on Instagram at Tony Baroni Team, follow us there. And you can kind of see how we've done it over time. And the first question we ask when they call in is, how do you find out about the contest? Because we want to know what marketing is working. And we hear a mixture of newsletter, saw it on Instagram, saw it on Facebook, Tony texts me, Anne Marie texts me, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So you want to track where people are finding it. And what gets really cool is when, oh yeah, James Shaw told me about it and he shared it with me on social media. And, you know, I think the point is, guys, the number one thing I want you to take from all of this today is very simple. We want to be top of mind when it comes to real estate, right? So we want to bridge in that top three, ideally number one, number two. So I'm going to do a quick exercise. I'm sure you guys, most of you have heard this, but I want to talk about soft drinks, soda pop, whatever you call it where you're from. And I'm going to ask Anne Marie. So when you think of soft drinks, what's the first three that come to mind, Anne Marie?
Diet Coke, Sprite.
Is there a third?
Yeah, Sprite.
Okay, I didn't hear the first one. So you said Coke, Diet
Coke,
Oh.
Sprite.
I missed the Coke. Okay, perfect.
And
So
the step, you know, redheaded stepchild, Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper would be my number three. So the point is, you want to be in the top three when it comes to real estate, right? So this contest will allow it. It really doesn't matter how many people call in.
Right.
You know, we did set a goal, and we always do set a goal, and we wanted to get to 200 by Diana Kokoska used to say, you know, double it, right?
Yep.
So originally when my coach brought this up to me, I said, well, I'm going to do 200. He's like, 200? No one's even really got to 100 yet. I'm like, we're going to figure out how to do it and kind of set the mission to do that. Now we measure that, but really it's the real big picture is we texted on the last one, 5,600 people in one day heard about the Tony Baroni team with Keller Williams Realty servicing Tampa Bay and Orlando and everywhere in between, right? So that's really the goal, is for people to understand that.
Yeah, you guys said that you did like 6,000 text messages. You have a system for that too, where you're not sending them all out at once, and it's not a group text because you don't want to get by spam. So you're using, and there's lots of vendors. We don't have to talk about which vendor you're using or whatever. You can go find the right vendor to go in and send out group text. You said, though, it was important that they go in groups, and you group them kind of based on how you have them classified in your database?
Correct. Anne Marie did it actually, so I'm not sure how she did it.
Yeah, well, I did it in priority of, when we originally did it, I used another technology just from a Google phone number, and we got cut off at 87. So that was our fail forward to try another system. Now, you know, 87 was still awesome, but it wasn't what we wanted. So we just kept figuring out, asking questions and
Sure.
choosing another platform and another technology. But I segmented them by past clients and then current clients, if, you know, ABC, so if they're buying 30, 60, 90 days or selling, and then Sphere, and what I think was probably the biggest aha for Tony and I, we were just talking about it. In the first one in February, we're like, man, none of our friends, none of our Sphere are in our database. And they probably have or should have the nicest things to say about us of anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
they weren't there.
yeah, when we did Bold 2.0, James, you know, the memory jogger,
Yep.
that was a huge aha when I took Bold 2.0 with you. And I realized, you know, my teacher's kids aren't in my database. I'm coach baseball, youth baseball Tony, to a lot of people, but they don't necessarily think of me as real estate Tony, which is kind of nice, but it's also like they probably should know I'm in real estate. So I realized they're not in our database either. So how do we really get people into our database? We can say, well, I just need to hammer it out and do it all day. The reality is I'm pretty busy. So we just use the first one or two reverse bolds or giveaways to get people to call in to make sure they're added into our database, to get our newsletter, and then to obviously take part in the giveaways in the future. So that's what the first one or two we did were just people that should be in our database, weren't in our database, and I would text them and say, hey, I would love for a baseball family to win this prize today. And all you have to do is call in, and I'd have all the details of the phone number. We do have our own dedicated phone number for the contest that we've created. And all of the stuff we talk about today, if James will allow it, we'll email everyone and ultimately let you know what systems we chose. We have no problem doing that. So I know we're going to get a lot of questions. Who do you guys use for this? And who do you use for that? We'll provide that to you, and look for an email. In the next day or two, we'll get that information all together and emailed to y'all.
Yeah, if you're registered on the Zoom, Tony will send that to you, and then we can upload it to the files page of the Pivot Shift Ahead group if you want, Tony.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
that's what we're here for.
Yeah, people are going to have questions about that. The thing I want to remind you, and I know you guys are doing this, and I want to remind everybody else out there, if you're going to do, texting like that, you got to follow TCPA. So make sure you're following Telephone Consumer Protection Act, because last thing you want to do is send out a big thing and then get a fine because you texted somebody you weren't supposed to text. So make sure you're following that. So I know you guys have a bunch of questions. Here's what I'd say. Instead of typing them all in right now, let's go through what we're talking about, because they're probably going to answer most of them. And then we'll open it up for ahas and questions at the end. Because you do have a dedicated line. You said you've got a toll-free number I think you guys are using that is specific for this, right?
Yes. It is. It's called the TBT contest number for us, and you call that number, and then there's a prompt, and it's I think a British accent saying thanks for calling the Tony Baroni Team Contest, and then it starts ringing. And the way we're set up, it rings simultaneously to whoever we want, and we usually have 5 or 6 people ready to go to be able to answer the phones. And then if we aren't able to pick up, we do have a voicemail as well. So one thing to think through the first time you do this, you may want to just have the greeting say, leave this, this, and this, and you're entered in the contest. So then you don't have to call every single person back if you don't have time. This happened on our last one where we were just getting absolutely hammered in the morning, where we just couldn't answer all the calls. So we then sent out a group text the next morning just saying, when you called in yesterday, you are registered, and we want to make sure you know that. So obviously you don't want to turn a good thing into a bad thing, right? Where people are upset with you because you weren't able to answer the phone.
Okay, is there anything else on the prep that we need to cover before we dive into the day of? All right, doesn't sound like it.
Nope.
Doesn't sound like it. I mean, I think we went pretty much down the list, and we're going to post this stuff, right, so everybody has it. So let's talk about the day of, and you guys have learned there's a key piece to getting people to call in. So Anne-Marie, do you want to tell us about that first key piece?
Well, I could just call it the magic of the same day text. And this is what we're talking about, that we are still learning, and it's staggering them, but we don't want to be front heavy, if you will, so that, like Tony was talking about, we were getting bombarded and some of them were going to voicemail, but the magic is in that same day right now, call this number and win.
So are you using that then? I mean, sounds like you're getting a ton of inbound in the morning. Like you have a segment of your database that's all in on this. They're excited about it. They don't want to miss out, so they're calling you. So does it slow down a little bit in the afternoon, and you can use these texts to get people calling back in at slower times?
Well, I'll take that question. James, that day I have blocked for the most part all day, and I'm either on the phone taking the inbound calls, or I'm texting someone I know asking them if they want to call all day for 8 hours straight. I'm doing that. So, ultimately we want to make sure everyone we know knows about it. Strategically, now that I know who's in my database, I realize that certain people I know are not. I'm going to compile a list really that week of, and I'm going to be like, these people are the ones I'm going to focus on texting to make sure they call in, and then I get them in our database for the future, right? So you got to think through of because our database, let's be real, it was really past clients, right? They close with us, they go in the database, we have some leads in there of if you inquired about real estate, but a lot of people that we know, like, and trust, like I'm on a board locally, half the people on the board weren't in my database. How crazy is that? So I'm going to focus on contacting the entire board on certain day and say, hey, we're doing this awesome contest. I'd love for a fellow board member to win this. All you need to do is call in, and here's the number. And then we screenshot a graphic with what the promotion is, along with emojis, a lot of emojis when we do solo ones. And that's what gets a lot of success, where people call in. And then the beauty of it, from then on, they're in our database for now on. They're going to get our newsletter every other month. And hopefully they start thinking of us when they think of real estate.
I love it. So you're purposeful in getting permission basically to add these people to your database that are not past clients of yours and yet are in your community, so they don't feel like, what I love about this, and this is a big thing that comes up, is, well, how do I tell the person that, I'm the coach of the baseball team? How do I tell those parents that I'm in real estate without being salesy? And, this, you get permission from them to come in, and now you can treat them like anybody else in your database, and it wasn't ever awkward.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't overthink it. Just, hey, I know you think of me as Coach Tony, since I coach your son in baseball. Also, we have a real estate team, and we do some pretty awesome giveaways that I would love for you to be a part of. All you need to do is call in to win. Here's the number. That's it.
So I imagine, Anne-Marie, you probably want to talk to this. Your systems day of are really important when it comes to gathering contact info of new people to be added, figuring out, how many entries somebody gets, because I know that kind of varies based on what happens on that call, tracking who called and who didn't. And I mean, there's got to be a ton. It's got to be all hands on deck on the team that day, and you got to be highly organized.
Well, it's funny because we actually go old school on the day of with whoever's participating on the call shifts, on the answering, and we take a communication form that we use for our clients. So we have all the information, name, email, best phone, and then any additional things that we're asking for. Like this last one is, we realized, well, I wonder why we didn't get more Facebook likes, or we didn't get more follows on Instagram, because we didn't ask. Amazing.
So what you focus on expands, right?
Right. So you get what you ask for. So ironically, on this one, we got 50 new Facebook likes and 24 new follows on Instagram. And that conversation just goes, hey, you have an opportunity. Thanks so much, James, for calling in. You do have an opportunity to get more entries in this. Are you by chance on Facebook?
Yes.
Fantastic. So all you have to do is go to Facebook, go to Tony Baroni team and like it. Okay, do I need to screenshot that for you? Absolutely not, James. We trust you. We so appreciate it. You'll find out other things that we're doing for the community that you may be interested on there too. So thanks for going and liking us on there. And are you by chance on Instagram? If you are, awesome. Follow us, same thing there. And a lot of people on this one, the number is half really, 24 compared to 50, is people just are not on Instagram as much as they are on Facebook in our database right now.
Yeah.
So
well, you'll take the followers all day. And again, I love, Gary has said for years that real estate is a hyper-local business. It's about your community, and you guys are backing that up through what you're doing. So that's a huge help. All right, so you've got the team working. They're on shifts. They're filling out the form. There's a lot going on. You probably can kind of get wiped out, and yet when the phone rings, you've got to be pretty excited.
Well, it's our Mo Anderson, Dale Carnegie, right? If you act enthusiastic, you'll be enthusiastic. And that's all it is. I mean, you just got to buck up and have fun with these people calling in as if they're the only one calling in. And, it's 4:59. And believe me, there's a bunch of people that call before that 5 o'clock whistle. And they're like, is it too late? Is it too late? And we probably take calls till 5:20. Is it too late? And just hearing that excitement, you got to keep that energy up all day. So I think that's probably the best thing. Even again, making that for the single agent, if it's just you doing it, do a smaller time. I know there's other agent teams that are doing that where it's 11 o'clock to 2 p.m. instead of all day. I mean, do what you can do and have that level of energy.
Well, see, and here's the lesson for me, the aha for me. Whether you get to 100 or 200 or not is really irrelevant. It's more calls than you've had come inbound in any period of time. You're going to get referrals. And so be excited either way. And I imagine you have to be pretty tight on like a specific script and asking the right questions. Is there a script or dialogue you want to share with people that has worked for these inbound calls to be able to A, get information, B, get a referral, and then C, you're obviously making them aware of the next competition day so they can be ready to call in again?
Sure.
Yeah. Want to do it, Anne-Marie?
Yep.
You want me to be the agent or you want to be the agent?
You pick.
I'll be the
I was
agent.
ladies first.
Okay. Ring, ring, ring.
You're calling in? I'm calling in.
Okay, call in.
Ring, ring, I hope I'm the winner. Ring, ring, I hope I'm the winner.
This is Tony. How may I help you?
Hi, Tony, it's Anne Marie. I'm calling into the contest line.
Anne-Marie Anderson?
Yes.
Awesome. We're so excited you called in today. So let me get you registered. Just need to ask you a few things. So is this your best phone number, Anne-Marie?
It is. It's my only one.
Awesome. And then what's your best email?
It is Anne Marie is a winner at Gmail.
Awesome. And your mailing address, are you still on Earhart Drive?
I am.
Awesome. Perfect. So we got all of that. So today we actually have some extra chances to win, Anne-Marie. Do you like extra chances to win?
Yes. Who am I paying? You know, I spent some time in Chicago. Who am I paying?
I figured you would like this. Okay.
Yes.
So it's super simple. So let me ask you, are you on Facebook?
Right now?
No, in general. Do you have a Facebook
Oh, yeah.
account?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So have you already liked our page? Tony Baroni team on there?
No.
Okay. So all you need to do is like Tony Baroni team on Facebook, and you're going to have one additional chance to win. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
So do you want to do that?
Yeah, do you want me to screenshot it, or how do you know?
No. We're going to trust that you're going to do that. Okay. And then the other thing is, are you on Instagram by chance?
I am. I'm not on there very often, but I have an account.
Okay, great. So that gives you a second chance to win. All you need to do is follow us on Instagram under Tony Baroni team as well. And there you go. That's 3 chances to win. Okay, I have one more. One more, Anne-Marie. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Is there anyone else that we can help with real estate needs that you know of today for 5 chances to win?
5. How much time do I have?
Well, if you let us know anytime between now and 5, we'll absolutely give you 5 chances. So you have 3 right now. Do you have someone in mind that we could help?
Well, you know, in our social distancing, we all stand out in the cul-de-sac. And my neighbor was talking about asking questions.
Sure.
If anybody knew what the house down the block sold for. So I know he was talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's the whole point of today, is think of us when you think of real estate. So if we can help that person or anyone else, we'd love that opportunity. And the best way to connect us would be a 3-way text. Okay. And you have my cell phone, right?
I do.
Okay. So if that comes together, just shoot me a text and we'll make sure we give them great service, just like we did you.
Okay. How do I know that I get the extra entries?
Well, you're going to have 3 today, and I have you marked down for 3. And we actually use this system that's based on technology to be able to pull the winner. So
Okay,
you're
cool.
good to go.
All right. I'm going to go get his information for you.
Okay. Hope you're the big winner, Anne-Marie. Thanks for calling in
me
today.
too. Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Okay.
All right, love it. So is that basically the dialogue that you have 5 team members at a time? They're kind of manning the phones. Is that basically the dialogue they're all using?
Well, here's what I want people to know. It depends on the giveaway, what we're asking for. So as you guys know, some previous ones we did was download our app. A little tip I'll give everyone, if you want an easy way for people to download your app, buy a URL and attach it to your app. So ours is tbthomefinder.com. So we did that as a plug one time. Another one we asked for referrals. Another one we asked for reviews. And this last one we did social media. And then we asked for a referral as well. So we're always doing the bonus part, and we've found that people love it. Like, they're super excited about it. And obviously, to qualify for a referral, we just need permission to call and their information.
Right.
Is how we count that.
I love it. Okay, very good. So let's put a bow on the day of and then talk about kind of the follow-up. So on the day of stuff, I mean, so your last one, your Father's Day one, how many inbound calls did you guys get?
200.
You got 200. And how many referrals or, opportunities came from that for business?
10.
Well, we'll take it all day, right? I mean, when was the last time you generated 10 opportunities in one day without you making an outbound call? I will take it all day, every day. Even if only 2 or 3 of them actually become something, the fishing charter cost you $400. Your staff had to work anyway. Your team had to be around anyway. So you created massive opportunity from something like this.
Yeah, we want to be clear. We're not shaking people down for referrals. So I just want to be really clear on that. If the person's maybe on a little abrupt, we're not probably even asking for a referral. But if the conversation goes well, or it's my past client that I know personally, I'm going to probably ask, if there's someone else we can help with real estate needs. So, we kind of play that by ear on our team. Carrie on our team, actually, she won a $50 gift card she got 6 referrals on that last contest herself. So
you're giving team members prizes as well for their participation?
We are. Well, we just started that on this one, but we're always trying new stuff to see what works.
No, that's great. I think we've talked about the 3 C's on our pivot calls for a long time, and it sounds like you're using that. That's care, compassion, common sense. Let's use a little common sense as to whether or not we're going to ask for a referral or not, and you'll be in really good shape. All right, let's talk about after. So as you kind of finish the day and everyone's all excited, I can't imagine what it was like for you to hit 200 and the energy that created for your team and how exciting that was. What do we do next? So the day is over, you've laid the foundation in the beginning, the calls happen, then what do we do to make sure we get opportunity out of it? Because I think you got 10 referrals. There's more to come from this particular day. It's just not here yet. So what's the follow-up?
Well, and James, to that point, those 10 that is 10 names and numbers of people that referring person has gotten permission for us to call. So it isn't just, here, try calling Tony Baroni or try calling Joe Smith. It's, we got permission. They expect your call.
This is a legitimate referral. It's going to be warm. And it's not just, here's a bunch of names of people that you might want to think about. Well, that's great. I love the do a 3-way text for us so that we can, I think that's really smart. Well done there. Anything else? Go ahead, Tony. Sorry, what's that?
I was just saying that really works well. So just keep that in mind, is ask for the intro via text. Man, those are high conversions. That's the way to go.
Oh, they've got to be easy. Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about then post. So you've got to obviously draw a winner, and I'm sure you have a process for that and some other things. So let's talk about the wrap up.
So what's super important on the day of is to set expectations, because it's always just like we've talked about, any client care and project management 101 is what's next. Like, you have to let people know what's next and what's expected. So during that call, when they're all calling in, you still need to make sure they know that the drawing is going to be tomorrow, and it's going to be whatever format we choose. It's going to be, Tony's going to do a live drawing on, Facebook Live, check in. Is this, again, this is the best number, right? So when you win, this is what I'm calling, James. Yep. All right, fantastic. Well, I hope I'm talking to you tomorrow. And that's, how we end it. And then the next day we follow up with exactly the expectation we set, that the drawing is going to be however we have decided it's going to be. So this last one we actually did, because we used this new technology for the texting. It was all digitally done, where it was just randomly selected. And we talked about it. I saw another comment about, do you let agents call in? And we do have agents call in, and honestly, they could have been chosen, right? Because it just picked a winner. So we did what we said we were going to do, and the winner was announced, and then they were contacted by the way they chose to be contacted on that Saturday, the day after, and they were given all the information for lining up how to get their reservation for the fishing charter. So, and
then obviously you want to get pictures of that charter and post that everywhere so people can
as much as we can then capture, either live video, Zoom, however it is, getting that and then putting that on social media for the announcement that's a whole other
my preference,
a whole other audience.
My preference is to do a video where we make a huge deal about it, have the prize, showing it, you know, to make it authentic that we're doing it right. But this last time we just did a recording and we showed the spreadsheet of the random number that was chosen through the spreadsheet. And I know you guys are gonna ask how we did that. I will get you the details after this. I don't know without talking to Kevin, who handled that on our team, but he'll be able to tell us how he actually pulled that off. But it's a lot better than writing down the first 3 contests. It's like, James Shaw, tear this, throw it in a basket. That old school is what we did, but there is a lot of easy ways to do it now with technology.
Yeah, in 2020, it shouldn't have to be that way.
Right.
I
Exactly.
imagine you're leveraging Command to help you with follow-up and stay in touch and what to do next. You want to walk us through any systems within your database that you're using to know who to talk to next, where there's an opportunity, all that kind of stuff?
Well, I think what's super important is for all this information that, you know, the whole, again, back to the first goal of having this be updating and adding to our database, which is our business. So we're tagging them that it's essentially a client event, or this one is reverse bold. We've color coded tags under action is the bucket for this. And so that's actionables. If it's, we're sending a card, we're sending a Valentine, reverse bold, that's the tag they're gonna get in Command. It's yellow. And then we're gonna put a note in there just so that we know which one they called for. But now they'll receive all the, because we did a good job and the only way they could enter is getting all that complete information. Now they're in there for follow-up, and that's really it. It's simple, right?
Yeah. Well, it
we make
creates a
more
ton
of
of
it.
opportunity in stuffing your pipeline, which is totally great. I know that people are going to have questions. So if you have a question, what you'll do is you'll raise your virtual hand on the Zoom. There's a little button for you to push, and I'll call on you one-on-one. You can unmute yourself when I call on you. Before we take a few questions, I'm just curious, is there anything we didn't address or talk about that you think is important to mention as we kind of put a bow on it before we go into questions or ahas or thoughts or takeaways?
I want to emphasize, I think the prize matters probably more than anything else. So you want to get something that in my mind is $300 or more, and that's a more luxurious item. So for example, for Mother's Day, we did the Dyson dryer set. And, you know, that's one of those things where it's like, you know, certain people may never buy that for themselves, but they all want it, right? So we had really good results on that. But yet at the same time, we probably had more women call on that one than men. We did have some nice guys that were trying to win it for their wives or girlfriend or whatever. But ultimately, you want to create, you want prizes where people are like, that would be cool to have, but yet they probably wouldn't pay for it because it's a little luxurious, right? So that's the way I would think about it. And the price probably matters more than anything else. The Valentine's Day giveaway that we did was amazing because so many people were trying to win it for their significant other that it became like, you know, people that we had 138 people call on the very first one we ever did, and they wanted to win that for their significant other. So think of things like that, of where other people can be involved. This next one we're going to donate $5 to every person that calls in to a local charity and tie it into a charity. And, you know, just think of creative ways that people will want to get involved, because that person that may not say, well, I don't need the dryer, but then they're like, oh, well, I'm going to donate to charity. If I call in, I'm going to call in, right? That brings a different person to the table that wants to participate. So
And
think
for
of it that
clarity,
way.
you're talking about a super elite, expensive, like hair dryer.
Correct.
Is what this thing is, because people are like, what is that? It's fancy.
Yeah.
I see pictures of it right here. I don't need it as much, Tony, so I probably wouldn't have called in.
Me either.
Hey, Anne-Marie, they're saying, and I know you can talk about this, one popular question, and then if you have a question, raise your hand. If that's not working, just private message me and I'll say it for you. How do you scale this for a single agent, right? There's a lot here, and you guys got 150 people. So how do you make it work for the solo agent who's like, man, I just want to get one of these done and see what happens?
Well, I think it's, no budget, no problem. You have to just not be your own worst enemy and live in self-doubt, because I was just talking to Ann Rosen about, I don't know what we were talking about doing. And she's like, but I don't have the technology. And it's, all the things that we wrap ourselves around. And it turned out her big aha was, but I have a phone. And that's really as simple as it can be. Like, as a single agent, you have a phone, which means, okay, you don't need to have an expensive budget for a newsletter, but you can text, you can call, you can take a video. And the video, if you're like, oh, I don't want to be on camera, okay, then do a video of the cool prize, right? Like, make it about the prize, because that's really, back to Tony's point, that is the shizzle, is the prize. And if you're a single agent and you have a phone, that's all you need. And then I'd say the other thing is just have a voicemail that's very simple and specific, asking them what they need to provide to you in order to be entered in the contest.
Yeah, leave this info to be entered. And then if you don't get to them that day, you can always call them back. Those people follow up.
You're not going to have,
go ahead.
Sorry, you're not going to have the anxiety of, I can't answer all these. It's too much. What if no one calls? Who cares? No one knows. That's the beauty.
Yeah, and then if you don't get to them all, you have follow-up calls for the next day or something like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, you can tell them to text you. They don't have to call. They could just text if you decide that, right? That's the cool part about these things. There's no rules. You decide how you want to do it and how it works for you. So set a date, pick a prize, and then lead generate around the prize for as much as you can prior to then. And then have a system set up of, they could call your cell phone, or do you want them to text? And keep it as simple as you possibly can, and make it all about them, and try to get a lot of people to call in that one day or text you that one day.
Love it. Bree Pittman, you want to unmute and go ahead and ask your question?
Sure, thanks. And thank you, Anna and Tony, for this information. Just out of curiosity, as far as the prizes, do you find that you get more calls or texts when you're offering an experience versus an actual item of value for the prize?
That's a
I
good
would say
question.
yes. I would say yes, although we've been disrupted with that, because when we looked at our list our team came up with like about 30 different ones. 99% were experiences. And
Wow.
the Valentine's Day dinner was our first one, and we had 138, and that was our second best one. So it tells me that probably is more of a luxury item that people would want. Yet we can't do a lot of experiences right now based on, the pandemic. So, we want to get to experiences as soon as we can, and we'll probably do a lot more experiences when we can do them.
And, Jenny Wallach is saying on Facebook that when she did the big green egg, people went nuts for that. And I mean, that's a big deal. I got one. I just did some stuff over the weekend on it, and people will go nuts for the egg. And I didn't know they make one that travels. Okay, so I'm calling in on August 7th. All right.
You better.
That I'm calling in. Hey, I got a call. I got a message that says, is there anything you're looking at when it comes to rules? Are there any things you got to worry about with state laws or Facebook regulations when it comes to doing these types of contests?
It varies state to state, so you need to check with your state. And then our only rule for actual contestants are you have to be 18 years old, and you can only enter once per person. So we'll have many people that say, well, can my spouse call in? Absolutely, they can call in. Okay, great. Are they right next to you? Just hand them the phone. Again, there's no rules. You make up the rules, so you just want to be fair for everyone. Our first one, we did a drawing, and it's like, I can't remember who it was, but it was like Matt Smith won. Well, I'm getting a message from Matt Smith on Facebook, and he's requiring that I mail him the Amazon gift cards, and it was fraud. So that's some other stuff you wouldn't think of, that person is like, well, that's my name. I saw this on Facebook. I'm going to say it's me, although it wasn't, because it was a past client, Matt Smith, that called in. So we have to verify all those things, so we've even had that happen.
Makes sense. Terry Story's asking, do you have rules about the delivery? Like if somebody lives out of state and they win the egg?
We haven't had that, but we should think about that.
Yeah, there you go. Now it's one to think about. Lee Corey, you have a question. Go ahead.
I do, because we do a lot of client parties, but that's going to be curtailed because of COVID. So with our client parties, we ask vendors to pitch in. And I'm curious if you guys ever did any vendor, help with these giveaways or not. And I think that would be great for single agents to partner up with some vendors.
Sure. Yeah, we believe you should. Kind of the reason we haven't, we wanted to make sure it was successful before we asked any vendors to participate. Now we know they will. So on our next one with the green eggs, since the price is going up a little bit more, we are going to bring vendors in to help with that. My rule is I never really ask them to pay for all of it. I always pay at least the portion I ask for them. So if I have 2 vendors, I'm going to split 3 ways. It's going to be us, them, and the other vendor all splitting the exact same amount. That's just how I've chosen to do it. But Lee, that's a good question. Absolutely get sponsors if you can. And we will on the next one. We just haven't yet.
There you go. The questions about what about my state? What about my state? You got to find out from your state, right? I mean, we're in Florida and we're going to have different laws than you have in Nebraska. So to make sure it's legal and legit in your community, you need to find out. Okay, let's see. Sade, you had a question? Can you unmute?
I hope you're talking about me. Sade, right? Sade?
Yes. How do I say it correctly?
Sade.
I'm sorry. I'll say it right next time.
I appreciate it. My question was the time frame. I know you guys let everyone know about the next one coming up, but the first one that you did, was it 2 weeks of promotion before the actual date? And was it more than one email that mentioned the giveaway? Like, are you doing an email a week to promote it? And how many text messages to promote it as well?
So that first one was Valentine's Day. So we actually sent a very adorable Valentine for that invitation and notification, really.
Nailed it.
And snail mailed it. So that was our big aha, is we didn't have all these, the baseball team wasn't in our database, but the first one, it went to basically past clients and current A and B clients. And that was sent to arrive a week before. So we timed it so it would hit, I believe it was to hit on Monday for the Friday call-in. And
yeah,
then
it was pretty quick turnaround
for them to receive that. But
we didn't do group text messaging at all. I did do a bunch of solo myself. That was the time we had 138, and I would say at least half were from me texting clients and friends and family to call in that day, just individual text. So that's how we did it. And now we do the newsletter on the front page. We write our own newsletter, completely organic, 100%. And that front page, we always put it in the same spot for people to see. And now we're getting a pretty big following of people saying, well, I saw it in the newsletter.
That's great. I love it. Thank you so much for asking the questions. Hey, Tony, Anne-Marie, this was fantastic. And, you're getting people now telling you, Jess Starr says you can do at-home experiences, okay? So you can get creative there. And, I mean, she's a genius, so she knows what she's talking about. True. So as a reminder, what we're going to do, those of you who registered for the Zoom, I think, Tony, someone from your group's going to send out, like, here's the prep, here's the day of, here's the after, along with some other things. I think, Anne-Marie, you or somebody will send that out. And then those of you watching on the Facebook page, we'll upload it into the files section of the Facebook page so that everybody has it on that page. Anything else, Tony or Anne-Marie, you want to say as we wrap up? I think you guys absolutely crushed this. You got a great system, and we can see why you sell so many homes and are so great for the community. Anything else you want to say as we wrap up?
No, I think Tony nailed it with it's really about them. Our database is our business, and if we start ever coming from being selfish or something that's just our gain, it will backfire faster than any effort we've done so far. So it's always going with the lens of, what's going to be exciting for them, and how can we give a gift compelling enough for them to want to call in that they probably could, but wouldn't spend the money on.
Yeah. And for me, it's, you you just want to be top of mind, I guess is the number one thing I want people to take away, whether it's through a giveaway or some other means. You want to be top of mind when they think of real estate, they think of you as the resource. And don't get worked up on the details of not knowing what you don't know. Just get it started. You'll figure it out. We're on our fourth one. The fifth one's going to be way better than our fourth one. And you don't be afraid to just get started. It's my advice.
Yeah, please do that. And then go back and watch the daily 8 a.m. Eastern call that prompted all this from last week. Joel Clausen and Indy, who's a friend of yours, right? So
Yeah.
Joel did one of these that had great success. So we talked with Joel. We talked with Jenny Wallach out of Tulsa, who's doing this at a high level. I mean, there's a bunch of people. So there's a lot of resources. We can learn from each other. And I think doing this little call was fun. We should do more of these, like once a week, feature an agent who's really doing something at a high level. If you would like that, let me know, because we'll have more of you on and we'll feature you. And then for the rest of you, we'll be back 8 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow morning for our daily call. I'll see you all then. You have more inspiration. It's time to put in the perspiration. See everybody later. Have a good one.
Thank you,
Thank
Jen.
you.
Okay, so you gotta have about a gazillion takeaways from that. Does that pump everybody up the way it pumps me up? It's like so exciting. So I really want some sharing now to go on with this. And it can be in any order, but let's make sure we all are taking something actionable away from this hour that we just spent. So who wants to share first?
Okay, so I'll just say that logistically it's scary.
Okay, talk about that a little bit.
Well, I'm glad Luke's on the call, hopefully.
Yeah, Luke yeah, he's there.
He's still there.
I'm here.
Luke,
I'm
yes.
just blacked out.
So look, I have to tell you, Luke is really amazing on the social media stuff. And he brought one of these ideas to me a week ago, and like what was it? What's the cooler, Luke?
Oh,
Yeah, it was actually Tony Baroni, I think. He did like a cooler contest.
One of those $300 coolers. And I said to Luke, I don't know, a $300 cooler, that sounds a little excessive to me. But now I see what they're saying. It's like, make it something that somebody wouldn't go out and buy for themselves.
Right.
So I'm glad I listened to that. Deb, if you could also send me the link so that I just missed the beginning of it. So I would love to just go back and listen to that again. But again, logistically, it's like, how do you get the message out to everybody? And then how do you get everybody on board with the day of?
Right. So two things. I copied everybody's name on this Zoom, and we will send you out a JPEG of the notes that accompanied this, as well as his newsletter. Those are the documents that were in Facebook for it. So I'll shoot those out to everybody later today or tomorrow. It's my reaction to that is it's the elephant, isn't it? And it's break it down. One of the things that I loved to hear him say over and over again is, you make the rules. Nobody knows what the rules are. You make those rules and you decide. I was shocked to hear that the first one they did, they launched the Monday before the Friday when they did the call. I mean, they didn't really have much lead time, but they got a nice return from it because it was a prize that somebody wanted to pay attention to. So, other thoughts so far? Or other questions?
So I have an aha from listening to this, and my aha was, it doesn't have to be brilliant the first time out, right? It doesn't have to be right. So put something together, and have it be messy, and have it be learn from the first one you do, because if you're giving good stuff away, people don't see the warts, right? They just see the prize. And so I think that for me, it kind of goes into Jody's comment of, logistically it seems so huge. And then I process it through and say, well, what if it doesn't have to? What if the logistics of getting it out were as simple as how we blast out anything to our database and just start there and see what happens when we just do that. And then on the next one, we'll have that experience, and then we can go a little bigger to target more people. But I think it's one of those things that if you're willing to just have it be kind of a mess the first time and not be too freaked out about that, people will focus on the prize, not the tidiness of the event, is my thought.
I have an idea.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think that it is super important once you actually have the winner to make a video of giving the prize. I don't know if they spoke about that, and then send to everyone who actually called, so that they can see that this is for real, that they didn't just waste their time, and they're going to have the belief that next time maybe they will be the winner. So it's not going to be something that is not going, the follow-up is what I'm saying will be super important.
That's huge. I loved their squeezing the orange concept, which was, do you want to, now you've got one entry, do you want to have more entries? Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. And then, I don't know if you caught it, but he said that was what we just did before we did sign up for our app. So you can use this to accomplish a whole lot of additional connections, and don't do it all at once. You do one now, then you do another one the next time, then you do another one the next time. But this is really designing a touch system with the advantage of, what was the purpose? What was his purpose specifically in his first one? It wasn't to get business, it was to add to the database and to fill out the contact information that all of us are derelict about. We're missing data, important data on a lot of our people. So you lower the expectation bar for your first one, launch it, do have a decent giveaway so that it's something that they want to connect with you on, and then go from there, build on it.
Hey, Debbie.
Yeah.
I have two things. This is the second time I've listened to this conversation. The first one is, when people are calling in, just go really low tech and just write all the information down. Don't try to put it into the system right away, because you might miss something or get something wrong. Just literally write it on paper and get it in when you have time. The other thing that I liked about it was, people are calling in, they don't know how many people did or did not call in. So you might have 10 people call in. They don't know that. It could have been, 200. So, they don't know how big or small your event was. As long as you have a winner, it's a success, as long as you have people call in and someone win. So I think those were the two things that I was really struck by.
Exactly. We're actually setting one of these up right now. And one of the things that Sherry has emphasized, she's creating for us a sheet that has name, phone, email, and snail mail address. And we're just going to make sure that we have that. And we'll have probably, 5 on a page. And we're going to dedicate those hours to nothing else but being ready to answer the phone, each of us. And then they say, then put them into your command. Don't be on the computer trying to do it at the same time.
Can I make one other comment about the cost? Because I think you have to really think like a business owner in this scenario, right? There's almost nobody on this call who wouldn't agree to pay 25 or 30% as a referral fee to somebody who referred you business, right? And that 25 to 30% could be $2,500, $3,500, $5,500, depending on the price point. And so understanding that spending money to make money is part of business ownership. This is just asking you to spend it up front. And if you spent $500 4 times a year to run 4 of these, like if you did them quarterly, that's still far less money than a standard referral fee that you would pay on a piece of business that could generate opportunities that could be multiple.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
just some perspective about cost, because I can see it in some of the worry on people's faces that, you know, how do I spend $500 on an event? Well, you make money and then you write the check. That's how you spend $500 on it.
The other thing about that is, I don't know, it's just a drop in the bucket. Like if you start it based on your past clients and your sphere of influence and all the people who would normally be in your A database, this is just like, we didn't throw a big client events this year.
Exactly.
So drop in the bucket compared to that.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Mm-hmm. I loved the way he broke out who he was sending things to. This is a perfect example of going from doing your business entrepreneurially to being very purposeful. And I loved Tony Baroni's focus on Mindshare and being top of mind. We talk about it all the time. This is something that's going to get people's attention. You're going to do a double take when they see this coming from you. That's the intention of the prize, of the caliber of prize. It's a head turner. And then to your point, Jody, being purposeful about how you prioritize who you're sending this out to, beginning with, for sure, your past clients and your active clients and your sphere, and prioritizing those guys, and then going to everybody else. If you have leads that have come in from your Facebook campaigns,
yeah,
you send them to all of those as well. That's a glue stick that sticks them to you in a way that they don't expect.
Yeah.
What else? What else stood out to anybody? Our intention at this point, so how do you promote it? I'll tell you what our thoughts are right now. We've had one social post so far for a call day that's going to be the 31st of July. We're also going to be sending out, just like we do for our 36 Touch, our whatever number of postcards to our past clients and sphere and the people who have been getting things from us earlier this year. And we will be doing phone calls and we will be doing texts. I thought it was fascinating that he said that some of the best return was from the day of texts that were sent out. So I think when you plan your schedule, you plan on 3 hours before the event starts, the clock, the gun goes off, you're texting, and also emailing. So you've got email, social media, texting, phone calls, and postcards. All of those media are going out. So somebody's seeing something on one medium or another at some point in the 2 or 3 weeks ahead of the event. And think about the cost of that. It's very low cost for a lot of touches. It's almost nothing, except with the exception of postcards, really, right? So the cost for this is virtually just the cost of the item. It's pretty modest. Anything else? Any other ahas? Any hesitations? Any excitement? Honestly, is everybody as excited? I'm like, oh, I'm so excited about this.
Tell us how you feel again.
It's fun. We need some fun.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So yeah. Okie dokie.
All right. Thanks, Deb.
If there are no more questions, go make an event.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
See you soon.